Common time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. And now, comment time. Blue Knight 851 writes, cryptids, solid farts. Psycho Nabnut writes, cryptids I've seen, women. Mr. Matjun writes, cryptids, other Griff. Okay, BK851, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're describing poop, which I'm pretty gosh darn sure any scientist, and really any human alive, would admit exists. If, however, you're talking about a literal hunk of flatus, well, you'd have to take the flatus, which consists of nitrogen, CO2, methane, sometimes hydrogen sulfide, and some other things, and freeze it. You'd probably have to get it all the way down to around 12 Kelvin just to make sure you're actually freezing all the components. But yeah, solid farts theoretically exist. Now, Psycho Nabnut, women exist. And if you're unsure about this, that's probably due to the fact that women want nothing to do with you. Now, Mr. Matjun, you may be onto something with this other Griff thing.
I always thought of myself as existing, but I could be wrong. More research to follow.
But the pièce de résistance comes from Blood Ocean 07, who sent me a rare picture of a sparkly vampire. Scientists denounce the existence of sparkly vampires, mostly because the largest proponent of their existence is the largely unreliable 12-year-old girl demographic. Also because the majority of scientists believe that nothing this lame would make it through natural selection. Good afternoon, butt kickers. It's October 21, the 294th day of 2011, which means it's the International Day of the Nacho. Submitted for your approval, the humble tortilla chip. On its own, nothing more than a blank canvas of salt, corn, and vegetable oil. It is shaped strategically so as to cut into salsas and dips with high efficiency and speed. Served with salsa or a little hot sauce, it retains its name, still acting as merely a vessel for its spicy payload. But as soon as you melt some cheese onto there, maybe hit it with some jalapenos or a little bit of ground beef, and you, dear viewer, have transformed the little tortilla chip into the nacho. It is somehow saddening that nachos are only remembered and distinguished by that which sits atop them. Olives, green onions, sour cream, refried beans, guacamole, chef spit, busboy spit, waiter spit, all common adorners and the main qualifiers for how we perceive nachos. But without this little guy, nachos wouldn't even be possible. Would you load that cholesterol-laden slop onto some Lay's? Of course not, you'd crush the poor things. Would you slop mounds of faintly Mexican grushed onto Cheetos? Not unless you wanted to see how fast you could make it to the hospital. But Griff, you might be thinking, why is this chip foundation even necessary? To which I reply, if you want to spoon nacho topping into your mouth, then be my guest, but don't come crying to me when everyone you know disowns you for being a degenerate slob. Granted, nachos probably belong in the food for degenerate slobs category anyway, especially when, like, the bottom chips get all soggy from the various greasy this or thats that have been flung haphazardly on top of the monstrosity. Especially when they often contain so much refried beans that you're bound to create more flatus than anyone could ever hope to freeze. But know this, sometimes it's okay to eat sloppy, unhealthy, and by and large disgusting foods, because sometimes you have to live a little. And you can thank the tortilla chip for that. Ugh. Stale. Until tomorrow, I'm Griff, and I'm still talking.